Mirrorball by Taylor Swift. Today I'm returning to the Folklore album to consider the song Mirrorball. Mirrorball is not a very complicated song in terms of the lyrics, but it is interesting and it does use some quite interesting metaphors. Indeed, it develops those metaphors in some detail. It's not particularly one of my favourite songs from the album. I don't really like the song all that much from the point of view of the music, but I do like the lyrical content, and it's also interesting because it's one of the few songs on the album that directly reference the COVID pandemic and the whole shutdown experience, which Taylor makes clear in her discussion of this song in the Long Pond studio sessions. I'm going to use the official lyric video version today. I don't think there's a whole lot to choose between those two versions. So without further ado, let's dive into Mirrorball by Taylor Swift.
Show you every version of yourself tonight. I'll get you out on the floor, shimmering beautiful. And when I break it's in a million pieces.
This song now almost always makes me think immediately of I Can Do It With a Broken Heart from the Tortured Poets department. Of course, at the time the song came out, 4 years prior to that, we didn't have I Can Do It With a Broken Heart. But it does bring to mind that song, I think, and for me it makes it clearer that in this song she's really describing her stage presence here, at least in this initial verse. I want you to know I'm a mirror ball. I hope we all know what a mirror ball is. It's clearly evident there in the video. We sometimes call it a disco ball. It spins around and the light reflects off it in a multitude of facets, scattered around the walls and ceiling and floors of the room and flashing on people at different times. So this is how she describes herself here, as something which scatters light on people, illuminates different parts of the room, different members of the crowd, constantly flitting, constantly moving. And this, I think, is an image of her performing on stage. This is how she sees herself on stage. Interesting thing about the mirror ball, well, a couple of interesting things. First of all, it reflects light. It doesn't generate light. So light that's hitting the mirror ball is being reflected back onto the room, onto the crowd. Taylor is not the source of the light in this song. She is reflecting the light. We can ponder about the possible source of that light, but I think for me it's really the crowd that's the source of that light. They shine a light on Taylor and it reflects back on them. But in doing so, she scatters that light. And as she says, I'll show you every version of yourself tonight. So she reflects this light back at us, her audience. She reveals ourselves to us in that light. Think in terms of a crowd, all the different versions of a Taylor Swift fan, of a Swiftie, if you like. They're not all teenage girls. There's every kind of person out there in the crowd, and she reveals that in this reflected light. And of course you can apply this to her songs as well, that her songs are a kind of light that shines and reveals ourselves to us. I think that's always part of her intention in songwriting. Yes, it's to reveal herself, yes, it's to express her emotions, but it's always also to illuminate our lives, to illuminate us, to reveal ourselves to us. I think that's really the intention of all good art. I'll get you out on the floor, so I'll get you up dancing. I'll draw you out of yourself. You're not going to sit around the edges of this room just watching. You're going to get out on the floor and you're going to dance. You're going to participate. This is what she sees herself doing as an artist, as a songwriter, and as a performer. I'll get you out on the floor shimmering beautiful. To me, that means it's the people she gets out on the floor that are shimmering beautiful, not herself, although as the Mirrorball, of course, she does shimmer, but she makes the audience shimmer. I'll get you out on the floor shimmering beautiful. But then she adds, and when I break, it's in a million pieces. And here, this very much, I think, brings to mind, I can do it with a broken heart. It's really only the brokenness of the Mirrorball that makes it work. It's all those little fragments, the little pieces of glass that all individually reflect the light at slightly different angles. It's only in breaking that this light is reflected back in a way that makes the crowd shimmer, in a way that makes the venue shimmer. So it's her brokenness that reflects the light back at us. It's a very powerful metaphor, and she develops it in a beautiful way.
I want you to know I'm a Mirrorball. I'll show you every version of yourself tonight. I'll get you out on the floor, shimmering beautiful. And when I break, it's in a million pieces. Hush, when no one is around, my dear. You'll find me on my tallest tiptoes, spinning in my highest heels, love, shining just for you. Hush, I know they said the end is near, but I'm still on my tallest tiptoes, spinning in my highest heels, love, shining just for you.
In this, which I suppose is the chorus, the mood and the scene changes. Now this becomes an intimate scene between two people, between her and her lover. Hush. The hush is in contrast to the concert experience. Hush. When no one is around, my dear, you'll find me on my tallest tiptoes, spinning in my highest heels, love, shining just for you. This now becomes a deeply intimate moment. In the context of the COVID pandemic, this intimacy is a forced intimacy. People were forced to stay home together, to spend time together in a way that they weren't used to. It either brought people closer together or perhaps tore some people apart, I don't know. But it changed the dynamics between people. And here we have the shift from the glamour, the excitement, the chaos of the concert experience contrasted with the intimate experience in a one-to-one relationship here. Hush, when no one is around, my dear, you'll find me on my tallest tiptoes. She'll still be in her heels. She'll still be putting on her best performance. She'll be putting on her best performance for the one that she loves. Spinning in my highest heels, love, shining just for you. So she's continuing the metaphor of the Mirrorball here, of the light from the Mirrorball anyway, but now she's shining just for him. All of that energy that she puts into the concert performance is now devoted to just this one person. It's a situation that was forced upon her, forced upon them, forced upon many people. They were forced to perform for each other. And then she repeats hush. I like the way she does this, the way she just utters the word hush. Quieten down, my love. When no one's around, I'm here for you. I'm spinning on my heels for you. I know they said the end is near. That does puzzle me a little bit. I'm not sure quite what she's referring to here. Maybe she's referring to the kind of, end of world apocalyptic nonsense that accompanies an experience like the COVID pandemic. Possibly. There's always someone around saying the end is near. Are people saying that the end of her relationship is near? Are people saying that the end of the COVID epidemic is near? That remains ambiguous. But she's still on her tallest tiptoes. She's still spinning just for him, shining just for him. So I love that contrast between what I think is the concert experience, the scene of the concert, and this intimate scene alone with the man that she loves.
Hush, when no one is around, my dear. You'll find me on my tallest tiptoes, spinning in my highest heels, love, shining just for you. Hush, I know they said the end is near, but I'm still on my tallest tiptoes, spinning in my highest heels, love, shining just for you. I want you to know I'm a mirrorball. I can change everything about me to fit in you. I'm not like the regulars, the masquerade revelers, drunk as they watch my shattered edges glisten.
I must admit I'm not entirely clear what to call the verse and what to call a chorus here. But in this second, maybe verse, quite short, I want you to know I'm a mirrorball, so she repeats that. But then I can change everything about me to fit in. I think in this case she's probably referring to her public life, the kind of chameleon that she has to be to meet certain expectations, the kind of person she has to be up on the stage. She can change everything about herself to fit in. But there's something restrictive about this too, isn't there? The whole idea of fitting in feels uncomfortable, like you're being squeezed into a narrow, confining space. And if she has to, she can do that. And she can do that in her stage performance. She can do that in her public life. But then she says, you are not like the regulars, the masquerade revelers. So here I think she's still addressing the one person that she's with. You're not like the regulars. You're not like everyone else out there, the masquerade revelers. You're not putting on a performance. You're not wearing a mask. These other people become drunk. They become intoxicated. Perhaps she's referring to her audience here, to her fan base, as they watch my shattered edges glisten. Again, can't help thinking of I Can Do It With a Broken Heart here. The masquerade revelers are drunk on her pain. They're drunk on her suffering as they watch her shattered edges glisten. Again, the idea that the mirrorball only does this, only performs this way because of its brokenness, because of the little fragments, the little shattered pieces that are glued together to make the ball. It's only this brokenness, this pain, that enables her to perform in this way. And here she's saying that maybe the media, maybe the people at the concert, maybe her fan base in general become drunk on this. They become drunk on her pain and get a kind of buzz out of her brokenness, out of her pain. Her pain feeds her audience. But she's saying to the person that she's with here that you're not like the regulars. You're not like these other people. She can change everything about herself to fit in. But the implication here is that she doesn't actually have to with this person. Perhaps she's also, in a way, explaining to him this part of her life, how she has to be this different person when she's on stage, how she has to be performative. And in all of her public life, she has to be performative. And perhaps this is her attempt to explain that to her lover.
I want you to know travelers, drunk as they watch my shattered edges glisten. Hush, when no one is around, my dear. You'll find me on my tallest tiptoes, spinning in my highest heels, love, shining just for you. Hush, I know they said the end is near, but I'm still on my tallest tiptoes, spinning in my highest heels, love, shining just for you.
She repeats the chorus here. There's no change to the wording here, but I just want to reiterate this idea that she expresses here: spinning in my highest heels, love, shining just for you. Although she talks about glittering and shining in her public performance, as I listen to this now, I can't help thinking that the kind of shining that she's doing with this person is at a different level. That maybe in this instance she's not just reflecting light, that maybe she's shining the light from within herself. Maybe that's a stretch, but just listening to that chorus again, I had the sense that she means something slightly different here from the glittering of the Mirrorball that she is on stage. That here she's shining from within for this person. This is her true and best self that she's revealing to him. And now we move into the bridge.
And they called off the circus, burned the disco down. When they sent home the horses and the rodeo clowns, I'm still on that tightrope. I'm still trying everything to get you laughing at me.
And they called off the circus, burned down the disco, when they sent home the horses and the rodeo clowns. The metaphor here obviously is that of a circus, and she extends it for quite a while here. Calling off the circus refers to the cancelling of her Lovers World Tour. She didn't have a chance to tour the album because of the COVID pandemic. It's actually worth reflecting just for a moment that were it not for COVID, we wouldn't have Folklore. We wouldn't have Evermore. We wouldn't have had the Eras Tour. But the circus was called off. Her world tour was called off. The disco burned down. So the Mirrorball, or the disco ball, can't shine anymore. The whole disco is burned down. They sent home the horses from the circus and the rodeo clowns. So the idea of a circus rodeo here, I suppose. But, she adds, I'm still on that tightrope. I'm still trying everything to get you laughing at me. Who is she referring to here? Is she referring to the lover that she's with, or is she referring to her audience, to her fan base? Well, I think it's her fan base. She's still trying to get their attention. She's still trying to reflect the light back at them. She's still trying to get them to shine their light on her so that she can reflect it back at them. She's staying on the tightrope. Of course, the implication of a tightrope that it's a fine balancing act. You don't want to put a foot wrong when you're on a tightrope. Despite the cancellation of the concert, despite the fact that she's now in isolation, she still wants to be able to reach out to her audience. But she says, I'm still trying everything to get you laughing at me. Why laughing at me? That's difficult, isn't it? Why does she want people to laugh at her? Is it because any kind of attention is better than no attention at all? I don't know. I struggle with this line. I don't know what she means by this. I don't know why she wants people laughing at her. Is it to distract from the pain? Is it to distract from her brokenness? When you think about clowns, rodeo clowns for instance, that's a very dangerous act that they're involved in. And clowns often look very sad. And the experiences that the clown goes through are evidently quite painful, or they would be if they were real. The clown makes us laugh at people's pain and suffering. Some people hate clowns, some people are terrified of clowns, and you can kind of understand why. because they embody sorrow, they embody pain and suffering, yet they're there to make us laugh. Yeah, maybe I'm working my way through to what Taylor means here. She's like the clown. It's her sorrow, her brokenness, that entertains her audience. And despite the fact that that is kind of somewhat perverse, and the idea of clowns is somewhat perverse when you look at it closely, she doesn't want to lose that. She wants to hold on to that, even with the cancelling of the show, even with the circus closed down. She wants to find ways to continue to draw our attention, for her sake and for ours. It's a way for her to turn her suffering into something glorious, and it's a way to bring joy and entertainment to her audience.
When they called off the circus, burned the disco down. When they sent home the horses and the rodeo clowns, I'm still on that tightrope. I'm still trying everything to get you laughing at me. I'm still a believer, but I don't know why. I've never been a natural. All I do is try. I'm still on that trapeze. I'm still trying everything to keep you looking at me.
So this is the second part of that bridge. I'm still a believer, but I don't know why. At the time of the writing of this song, the recording of this album, there was a hell of a lot going on in the world. Our memories fade quickly, but cast your mind back to what it was like in those early days of the pandemic. But she remains a believer. She remains positive, hopeful, even though she doesn't know why. She's not sure where that comes from. And she leaves that ambiguous. She doesn't know why, so she can't tell us why. But through that experience, she remained positive, and really, she demonstrates that by the work that she produced during that time. That was how she demonstrated her faith, demonstrated her belief, by producing this work, Folklore and Evermore. And she says, I've never been a natural. All I do is try. You wouldn't know that from looking at her. You wouldn't know that from looking at her on the stage. You wouldn't know that in looking at her in her public appearances. She seems so confident, so self-assured, and she has pretty much through her whole career, astonishingly so sometimes. And yet she's telling us here that this doesn't come naturally to her. I think the belief doesn't come naturally to her, particularly at this stage in her life in 2020. She'd been through a lot in her life, good and bad, obviously. But somehow she remains a believer. Somehow she manages to keep herself up there on the tightrope. Here she manages to keep herself on the trapeze. She manages to keep herself up there somehow. She's had a long career at the top, very unusually long career at the top. But she's telling us that this doesn't come naturally to her. There have been times in her life when she wasn't a believer, that she thought her career was over, that she faltered, she lost faith. But somehow she comes through it. But this is something she has to work at. She has to try. I think we can see in her career how she drives herself. She doesn't take things for granted. She doesn't rest on her laurels. She keeps trying. She always wants to do better. She's still on the trapeze. She's still trying everything to keep you looking at me. This is part of Taylor's self-awareness here. She's expressed it in song before. Just think of Long Live from the Speak Now album, way back in 2010, where she wants people to remember her. This is what feeds her. This is what keeps her going. She loves the attention. She loves it and she hates it, obviously. There's a downside to the attention. But I don't think she could manage without it. And she's quite honest about that. She's quite honest about wanting that adoration, and you can see how much she enjoys it when she's performing. She wants people to keep looking at her, and then sometimes she doesn't. And of course, that's the difficulty. Once you've created that expectation, once you've created that image, that life, it's very hard just to turn it off. You can't just turn it off. She couldn't turn it off during COVID even, and so she produced Folklore and Evermore. Of course, there's far more to it than just wanting to be seen, wanting to be noticed, wanting to be looked at, wanting to be laughed at. There's far more to it than that, but that is clearly part of what is going on in Taylor's psyche. Despite all this, we know that in many ways Taylor over the years has expressed a lot of insecurity, perhaps a certain level of imposter syndrome. I think it took her quite a long time to accept the level of success that she achieved. She didn't quite believe in it, but now I think she does. That's what she says here anyway. I'm still a believer. She doesn't know why, but she is.
I'm still a believer, but I don't know why. I've never been a natural. All I do is try, try, try. I'm still on that trapeze. I'm still trying everything to keep you looking at me. Because I'm a mirror ball. I'm a mirror ball. And I'll show you every version of yourself tonight.
So there we have it, Mirrorball by Taylor Swift from the Folklore album. So often with Taylor's songs, there's a level of discomfort that comes when you're listening to them. Obviously, we enjoy them too. As she expresses in the song, we derive a perverse joy from her pain. But I can't think of many songwriters who are as open about their own life, their own inner thoughts as Taylor is. And even in a song like this, which perhaps on first listen you might not really get what it's about, but I think when you look at it closely, it's so very revealing of herself, of her life as a celebrity, of her needs as a celebrity, of what drives her need to be a celebrity, and also what she gives to her audience or wants to give to her audience, how that both costs her and rewards her. These two things, I think, are inseparable in the life and career of Taylor. And here I think she expresses that most clearly and most honestly. And it's not entirely easy to listen to. Just a comment about the musical style, I suppose that the music has a kind of glittery, sparkly feel to it that complements the idea of the mirror ball. For me, the melody doesn't particularly grab me the way the melody of some of her other songs does. And I guess I'm not as moved by her vocal performance here as I often am also in her songs. So that's why it's not one of my favorites, but I still love the lyrics. I still love what she has to say here, even though at the same time it leaves me feeling a little bit uncomfortable. Does it do that at all to you? Tell me what you think.